Halo's approach to human weapons is rather unique for a sci-fi universe, in that they're not very futuristic at all. Besides ammo counters and lights seen on most weapons, these firearms wouldn't look too out of place in today's world. But there is that undeniable soul to Halo's weapons that can't be found anywhere else. But what if, instead, real weapons made their way into the world of Halo? What would they look like in the 26th century? It's time to Halofy iconic weapons. Greetings, Vernissage here. Welcome back to the Halofying series, where we'll finally be taking a look at 5 more iconic weapons in the style of Halo. Halofying real weapons was actually the first episode in this series, so I figured it was time to finally go back and tackle some designs that were frequently requested. And just like last time, LoreKeeper, my friend and Discord mod, was kind enough to give these designs depth with some fascinating lore behind them. This time, with a big focus on the insurrectionists. And as always, I want to thank my Spartan 2s and Discord mods for helping me out with these designs. Now, without further ado, let's begin. The G36C has always been a favorite of mine when it comes to the design. The slim carry handle and the overall compact design made this a standout weapon in media during the early 2000s. To Halofy such an iconic weapon, it's important to keep what made it unique in the first place, while still changing it enough to seem natural in the world of Halo. Originating from a design supplied by the CMA just before the outbreak of the Human Covenant War, the United Rebel Front iterated upon the original design, hoping to replace aging stocks of HMG-38s and keep up with the UNSC's own rifles without having to rely on acquiring them. The final result came as the AG-55, a hard-hitting and stable marksman rifle chambered in 8mm Talon. Although the AG-55 is not as modular as its now distant cousin, the MSBD-18, its ballistic profile allows it to keep up with the mil-spec M395s at range, in a package that's lighter due to incorporating Covenant nano-laminate, a feat uniquely afforded to the insurrection gunsmiths on Venetia. Although not a common sight off the planet, many are provided to the Gao Republic under a deal uniting the two independent worlds. A special modification package for use in the jungles of Gao removes the carry handle in favor of an extended rail system. It also lightens the weapon further through the removal of bulk forward of the handguard, and shortens the barrel for closer up fighting. The biggest changes to the G36C are without a doubt the stock and the magazine. The stock was replaced with a reworked VK78 commando stock. And to go all in with a Halo look, I give it a proper magazine well, similar to that of other weapons in the same class from Halo. The carry handle got a more BR styled look, and to give it a little extra life, I added some color and lights. Overall, the Halofy G36C, now the AG-55, is an even more compact rifle than its source material, brought into the world of Halo with a more defined look. Let me know what you think of this design. Are you tired of constantly receiving spam phone calls to the point where you don't even answer your phone anymore? Well, lucky for you, Aura is the sponsor of this video. Data brokers are making a fortune selling your information to robocallers, spammers, and others who want to learn more about you, such as where you live. Aura can identify data brokers exposing your info and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. It's really easy to set up, so you don't have to download several different apps just to get things like parental controls, antivirus, password management, identity theft insurance, and much more. Not only that, Aura is also a tool to monitor your credit score. You get all of that for one affordable price. And for us who play online games, I'm happy to say Aura has its own VPN, so you can stay safe from DDoS attacks and even find faster servers. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online, so you can focus on what's most important to you with peace of mind. So, you can either let people continue to exploit and profit off your private information, or you can go to aura.com/vernissage to start your 2-week free trial. You can find this link in the description. Huge thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now, on with Halifications. Due to its integral suppressor, the AS-Val has a very simple yet striking design. To halify this compact assault rifle, I want to add extra details to have room for some more character. Designed, tested, and used in the jungles of Gao, the ASM is a work of gunsmithing art. The culmination of lessons learned both during the uprising that gave Gao its independence from the UNSC and a mission to halt the Covenant task force intent on glassing the planet, the ASM is a rugged, reliable, and most of all, effective weapon when pushed into any conflict requiring the utmost importance. Beginning life as a submachine gun used on the front lines of the Gao Liberation War, the first battle jumpers made use of a special purpose-built SOCOM variant to stealthily strike from the shadows at the UNSC invaders. The weapon's minimal sound signature when fired allowed battle jumpers to make frequent use of ambush and surprise attacks against the unsuspecting Marine forces. Even when used to fend off a Covenant task force, battle jumper boarding parties were able to leverage its surprising penetration to take down Sanghili and Jirulhan foes, and effectively halt the Covenant's attempts to glass Gao. Truly, the ASM is a weapon that is as iconic to Gao's independence as the MA5B is to humanity's survival. While the AS-Val is a good design, to bring it over to Halo, I felt the need to build upon it. So I made areas such as the barrel and the stock a little more complex. And just like with the G36C, I gave it some color and lights, but this time red lights, echoing the M7 SMG. While the silhouette hasn't changed much, the detail within sure has. Let me know what you think of this one. And now, for arguably the most recognizable design in this video, the M16. The carry handle and its overall slanted look makes it not only iconic, but a truly interesting design that deserves its place in the spotlight. To halify the M16, I knew I had to keep its general silhouette, but possibly try and blockify it slightly. The Automat Carbine 23 is a direct evolution of the prototype XR85 individual marksman rifle submitted to the UNSC Army's standardized combat rifle trials. Although the XR85 would lose out over the MA37 as the standard issue army rifle, it would see later refinements before being sold off to Savine Arms, much to the chagrin of the UEG. This specific model is an unlicensed version manufactured by Sapien Sunrise. Savine Arms denies allegations of supplying the weapon's design and cites an incident where a pair of raiders were stolen on Harmony as being responsible. In any case, this 5.56x51 rifle has actually been reconsidered for adoption following the created uprising, due to its reliability and ease of manufacture. Although currently, the UNSC has no plans to formally change anything regarding its supply lines, fractured as they are. To keep the soul of the M16, I made sure to include the carry handle, albeit a bit more angular, the slanted magazine, and the front sight housing. The rest of the design has seen some quite drastic changes. Rifles in Halo are usually bullpup, so to make sure this looked as faithful to Halo's aesthetic as possible, I ended up connecting the stock with the grip and giving the grip a handguard. And to finish it off, I of course gave it lights and some colors. Even though it's quite different from the source material, the halified M16 still carries over the soul of the original. Let me know what you think of this design. Let's go back in time a little and take a look at the PPSH-41. Basically consisting of a wooden stock, a drum magazine, and a thick barrel, I knew I had to make something interesting with the little room I had to work with. The MPW, or the MPW-1, is a common sight among the lesser known and more poorly equipped insurrectionist groups that permeate the human space following the Human Covenant War. Originally dating back to the Eridanus Secundus Rebellion, The MPW was named in honor of the late Colonel Robert Watts. In keeping with his ideals of freedom for all, the MPW was originally to be provided free of charge to up-and-coming planetary freedom fighter groups, although the return of the Covenant and subsequent destruction of Eridanus Secundus put a halt to that plan. Still though, the MPW, much like the ideals instilled by Colonel Watts, lived on even though its design has seen stagnation, a striking similarity to Watts' teachings, which have remained rigid after the collapse of the Covenant. The MPW fires the same 5x23mm caseless cartridge that the M7 SMG does, although its cheap construction and lack of iterative design results in feed troubles, and slight manufacturing differences result in magazine tolerances being inconsistent among factories. For this halification, I decided to stay as close to the original as I possibly could, so I gave it a stock very similar to the original, just not wood. The barrel also follows the original very closely, but to modernize it a bit, I added a rail to it. The biggest change, or should I say addition, is the foregrip. Seeing as the original doesn't give the user a proper place for their hand in the front, I felt like a future version of this weapon would have fixed this problem. The MPW is unmistakably the PPSH-41, but its new polymer look sets it apart just enough to make it its own thing. Let me know what you think of this design. For the final design, I asked my Spartan 2s and 3s what weapons they would like to see, and they proposed the MSBS Grodd. What makes this one interesting is the fact that it can be configured as both a conventional rifle as well as a bullpup. So this basically became a 2-in-1. The biggest challenge here was to give both versions of the Grodd a unique look, while still looking somewhat similar. The Modulo Juego Sistema Brony Jiu-Jitsu Trial 18, or MSBD-18, was originally designated the MSBD-11 and was intended for use by CMA peacekeepers due to its incredible modularity. Ultimately, only a few thousand MSBD-11s would make it to the CMA before it was dissolved, and these weapons would later appear in the hands of insurrectionists and other third-party groups. The MSBD-11 would eventually spawn countless copies among the underworld of weapons manufacturers, one of which would quickly rise to the top of the list as a solid weapon system, though at the cost of modularity. The MSBD project would be reevaluated by Ms. Raya over the years, eventually culminating in the MSBD-18, a near-complete rework of the design, incorporating lessons learned on the front lines of the Human Covenant War. Capable of firing both 7.62 by 51mm and 8mm cartridges, it features similar ballistics to the MA5 platform in its bullpup configuration, with a traditional setup boasting ballistics that are nearly identical to the Maestro battle rifle. These two halifications, being based on a rather standard-looking weapon platform, are the most tame designs in this video. I tried giving the bullpup configuration a unique flair by giving it a raised rail, sorta like the DMR. And for the conventional configuration, I added an optic to give it something a little more unique. And finally, to hammer home that these belong in Halo, I added features such as triangles along the side, MA5C style grips, and a front sight housing. Overall, while not the most striking designs, the two configurations of the Grodd have both been reimagined for the 26th century. Let me know what you think of these designs. And there it is. Those are the weapons I halofied for this video. Which one's your favorite? And let me know what weapons you want to see me tackle next. Huge thanks again to Aura for sponsoring this video. Go to aura.com/vernissage to start your 2-week free trial today. Be sure to join the Vernissage Discord and go give LoreKeeper some love. I really appreciate his help with the lore to these designs. And I also want to thank the rest of my lovely Discord mods and my amazing Spartan 2 patrons for helping me out with these designs. If you also want to be a part of my drawing process, go check out the different tiers on my Patreon. Link is in the description. Speaking of, I want to thank my Spartan 2s. That one guy, Diehard Colt 3, Ripcorded, Hitsuyona Corrento, Azores, Desu, The Lenster 2.0, Codenwash, Captain Waffles, and Poison Ebony 666. My Spartan 3s, Frogtrotch, Jordan Downey, and the Silent Deep. And my Spartan 4, Liam Fitzpatrick. If you like this video, give it a like. If not, a dislike. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I wish you all the best, and take care. Vernissage, out.